Did you know that 11 million Americans live in gated communities? But is it right for you? In this video, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the unexpected when it comes to living in a gated community. Now we're going to do this as pros and cons, and I have experience of living in a gated community. I've done it for about 18 years in many different communities, and I'm here in Southwest Florida. So let's jump right into it. So pro number one has to do with the amenities. Gated communities have the ability to have amazing amenities. So whatever you are into, you can find it in different gated communities. For example, if you're into golf, gated community. If you're into tennis, pickleball, bocce ball, these types of activities occur in gated communities, as well as resort style pools. There are movie theaters in certain gated communities, ice cream shops. We even have some that have woodworking areas. It's just, there's so many opportunities for amenities when it comes to gated communities. And so I'm going to say that is obviously pro number one. Pro number two is that properties are generally well maintained. So being in a gated community means that there is likely going to be a homeowners association, and the homeowners association is there to enforce the fact that people take care of their properties. And so that is a really good thing, especially if you have neighbors who don't take care of their things well. The HOA is going to be the one who's going to yell at them, but in general, that makes for a very good maintenance for around the community. Now, pro number three is one that I say is unexpected and a lot of people may not understand, but if you are buying a second home or a vacation residence, being in a gated community actually gives you a favorable rate for your homeowner's insurance. And being in the state of Florida, anything that we can do to improve insurance rates is a good thing. So if it's a second home for you, you may strongly consider a gated community. All right, pro number four is the community aspect. There is something about living behind gates that connects people together. People walk their dogs, talk in the driveways in the evenings. These are the types of things that happen when there's community, right? We all belong to this certain thing. And so community is a big aspect when it comes to living in a gated community. Pro number five, so enhanced security. Now, with gated communities, we have something called a gate, right? So we have to get through a gate. They control who comes in, deny people who we do not want to come in. And so there is enhanced security behind that. There are all kinds of different gated communities. You can have some that are monitored or there's a guard at the gate. You can have some that just have a call box where you punch in a code. Or now the latest thing is that there are call boxes where you insert your ID and you speak to somebody who's behind some computer in some remote location, and they will either provide or deny access to you in that neighborhood. Pro number six is higher real estate values. This is what I do. I am a real estate broker. I own a real estate company, and I have been doing this for 18 years. And what I can tell you is that the property values that are in gated communities tend to be much higher than those that are not in gated communities. There are exceptions to that, no doubt. Port Royal and Naples is not gated, and those are the highest price points in the entire United States of America. But in general, gated communities tend to bring higher values. And so if that's something that's important to you of maintaining value over a long period of time, you may consider being gated. All right, rounding out, pro number seven is reduced traffic and reduced noise. Because of the way gated communities work, there's no through traffic that comes down the neighborhood because you've got one specific entry. Sometimes there will be multiple, but it's not through traffic. And so generally speaking, the speed limits are around 25 miles per hour, and you don't have loud parties, loud music going on in neighbors because the HOA wouldn't allow for that. And so there tends to be a lot more peace and tranquility when it comes to gated communities. Now, this is what you want to know. What are the cons when it comes to living gated? Con number one is going to be the cost, right? We talked about the higher real estate prices, which is a good thing for maintaining value, but that's also a con if you're trying to get in to a gated community and that the real estate prices tend to be a bit higher. But on top of that, you also have the homeowners association fees, the HOA fees. So all of these nice features, all of these amenities, the gates, etc., that all costs money to run, and all, that comes from the pockets of the people who live within the neighborhood. So the more amenities that the community has, generally speaking, the higher the HOA fees. And I always look at HOA fees as the type of thing that it's like the mortgage that never goes away. You can't ever pay it off. And in general, it goes up over time. So you need to be aware of that. And you need to understand, like, hey, there's enough value here and I'm willing to buy into this. And I've got a lot of confidence in this homeowners association. Con number 2 is rules and regulations. So if you're the type of person who wants to have a boat in your yard or wants to paint your home whatever color that you desire on that given day, then homeowners association gated communities is probably not the right living style for you, because they all come with their set of rules and regulations, and you either need to abide by them or you're going to get fines, you're going to have letters in the mail, you're going to have all these problems that the HOA is going to decide once you become the target. And if you're the type of person that just doesn't want that in your life, stay away. All right, con number 3, we talked about in the pros how the restricted access and extra security is good, but sometimes that creates a problem when it comes to accessibility. If you have vendors who are coming through, if you have friends who want to come to the house, you always have to deal with getting them access into the neighborhood, and that can be a real pain. Most of the systems these days have apps, so you don't have to call in, but it's an extra level of pain if you have guests coming over or services coming to the house that you have to go and put them on the list, and that's just not very fun to do. Con number 4 is a false sense of security. Yes, these are gated communities. That's what we are talking about. That does not mean that people aren't able to get beyond those gates, or that does not mean that if somebody is a bad character that they can't figure out a way to rob a home, that they're not guaranteeing that kind of stuff won't happen. In fact, some of the higher end robberies that I have seen happened in gated communities because people have that false sense of security. They might just relax a little bit about things, not be quite as vigilant. And so you still need to be careful. It's still a situation where you've got bad people out there. That just exists no matter where you are. Con number 5. Legal disputes. Yes, we know that if you are out of line when it comes to the HOA, that they can fine you. They have that authority to do that. Also, if you are unable or you decide to stop paying your HOA fees, then the HOA has certain rights over your property, and there could be an issue. The HOA here in the state of Florida actually has the ability to foreclose on a property if you do not pay your dues. So that's something that you really want to avoid. And also they can get attorneys involved to where you have to pay the attorney's fees. And so that can be a big con when it comes to an HOA gated community. Con number 6, one that you may not think about, but there is a lack of public services to gated communities. These are generally private communities. They're in charge of their own roads. They're in charge of their own street lights. And so the county or the city that you live in is no longer responsible for maintaining those roads. So when things happen or when you need a new seal coat on all of the roads, that is something that the HOA needs to budget for, because they are responsible of maintaining all of the property within the gates. What experience do you have living in a gated community? Are you considering making a move into a gated community? Have you already done it, would never do it again, or would you do it again? Let me know in the comments and help each other out. That's what we're here for. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day.